There are no accidents. The fact that you're here, right now, reading these words, that is not random. Something in you shifted. Something pulled you in a direction you couldn't explain. And that quiet, invisible pull, that is the sound of your life beginning to change. You didn't find this video. This video found you. And if you've ever felt like you were standing at the edge of something enormous, like a version of you that you haven't met yet is waiting just beyond the next decision, the next breath, the next moment of stillness, then everything I'm about to share with you was written for you, and only you. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, something inside you is going to wake up. But before we go deeper, if you feel like this message is speaking directly to your soul, subscribe to this channel right now. Every video here is a signal, a transmission designed to help you align faster with the transformation that is already moving through your life. Hit subscribe and let the universe know you're ready. Because readiness is the first step. And you're already here. Let's begin with a truth that most people are never told. You have been living inside a version of your life that was built on other people's beliefs. The limitations you carry, the ones that whisper, "This isn't possible for me," or "People like me don't get to have that," those are not yours. They were handed to you before you were old enough to question them. You inherited a story, and for years, you've been living it as though it were fact. But here's what quantum science and ancient wisdom both agree on: reality is not fixed. The life you're experiencing right now is not the only version available to you. It is simply the one that has been most consistently observed, most consistently believed, most consistently expected. And that is about to change. There is a field. Scientists call it the quantum field, mystics call it the source, and your heart has always known it as something deeper than words. This field is not separate from you. It is not somewhere out there, beyond the stars, accessible only to enlightened monks or genius physicists. It is here. It is now. It is the invisible fabric from which every experience, every synchronicity, every so-called miracle has ever emerged. And here is the extraordinary part. This field responds to you. Not to the version of you that performs and pushes and forces things into existence, but to the version of you that believes, that feels, that aligns from the inside out. You have always had access to this. The question is whether you're ready to use it consciously. Think about the moments in your life that felt like magic. A thought you had that came true. A person who appeared exactly when you needed them. A door that opened the moment another one closed. You probably called it luck, or coincidence, or timing. But what if it wasn't? What if those moments were evidence, actual, repeatable, scientific evidence, that you are in constant communication with something far greater than your circumstances? The universe is not indifferent to you. It is not a cold, mechanical machine grinding forward without awareness. It is a living, responsive, intelligent system. And you are woven into it so completely that your thoughts, your emotions, your deepest beliefs are constantly shaping what shows up in front of you. You are not a passenger in your life. You are the author. Now let's talk about energy, because this word gets used so loosely that it has lost its power for many people. Energy is not a metaphor. It is a measurable, observable, undeniable reality. Everything that exists, your body, your thoughts, the chair you're sitting on, the space between molecules, everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies. And emotions are one of the most potent forms of energy in your human experience. Fear vibrates at a frequency that draws more things to be afraid of. Gratitude vibrates at a frequency that draws more things to be grateful for. This is not spiritual wishful thinking. This is physics. The frequency you live in is the frequency you broadcast. And the universe responds to that broadcast with precision. So the question becomes, what frequency are you living in right now? Here is something most people spend their entire lives never understanding. The version of you that you most want to become already exists. Not as a fantasy, not as a distant possibility, but as a real vibrational reality in the quantum field. Right now, in this moment, fully formed and waiting. The breakthrough you're seeking is not something you need to create from nothing. It already exists. Your only job is to close the gap between who you are being right now and who that future version of you already is. This is the shift that changes everything. Not striving towards something far away, but stepping into something that is already real. The future is not ahead of you. It is beside you. And transformation is nothing more than choosing to walk in a different direction. Close your eyes for a moment, or simply soften your focus, and imagine the version of you who has already broken through. Not the version who is still waiting. Not the version still asking, when. The version who has already arrived. Who woke up one morning and realized, this is it. This is the life I always knew was possible. Feel what that version of you feels in their chest. Notice how they carry themselves, the ease, the certainty, the quiet confidence that comes not from arrogance, but from alignment. That feeling you just touched, even for 1 second, that is a real signal. That is your soul's GPS recalibrating. That is the quantum field receiving a new instruction from you. Don't dismiss it as imagination. Imagination is how every real thing in the world began. Every bridge, every invention, every revolution started with someone closing their eyes and seeing what didn't exist yet. There is a reason you have always felt different. Not broken. Not lost. Different. Like you were carrying something inside you that the world around you didn't fully understand. Like you could sense things others couldn't, feel the weight of something larger calling you forward, even when you had no name for it. That feeling is not a flaw. It is a fingerprint. It is the mark of a soul that came here with a specific purpose, a purpose that cannot be assigned, cannot be outsourced, and cannot be delayed forever. You have been preparing for this moment longer than your conscious mind knows. Every setback was a setup. Every period of darkness was a compression. And everything you thought you lost was simply making room. You are not behind. You are exactly on time. Let's talk about the silence, because most people are terrified of it. In a world designed to keep you distracted, to fill every moment with noise and urgency and consumption, silence has become radical. But in that silence lives something extraordinary. In the space between your thoughts, between your reactions, between the constant commentary of your mind, in that space lives the truest version of who you are. And here is what that version knows, with absolute certainty. You are not your fears. You are not your history. You are not the story of everything that went wrong or everyone who doubted you. You are something far older, far deeper, and far more powerful than any of that. The silence is where you remember. And once you remember, nothing is ever quite the same again. Your nervous system has been carrying a weight you were never meant to carry alone. Years of uncertainty. Of working hard and still feeling like something essential was missing. Of watching others seem to move forward while you felt stuck in a loop you couldn't identify. Of wondering if maybe you were asking for too much, if the life you imagined was somehow not meant for someone like you. Let me be very direct with you. That loop is not evidence of your limitations. It is evidence of how deeply you've been trying to grow in an environment that was not designed to support that growth. You were not failing. You were a flower trying to bloom in the dark. But the light is coming. In fact, the light is already here. This moment, this awareness, this very willingness to feel and reflect, this is what shifts the energy. The universe communicates in patterns. Repeated numbers that catch your eye. Songs that begin playing at exactly the right moment. Strangers who say the exact thing you needed to hear. Books that fall open to the precise page. These are not accidents. These are the universe's language, a personalized, intelligent system of guidance that is always active, always precise, always pointing you toward your highest path. And here is the most important thing. These signals increase when you begin to pay attention. The universe rewards awareness. The moment you decide to notice, the messages multiply. The moment you decide to trust, the synchronicities accelerate. You are not waiting for a sign. You are surrounded by signs. The only question has always been whether your eyes were open enough to see them. They are open now. Transformation does not always announce itself loudly. Most people expect a dramatic moment, a lightning bolt, an obvious revelation, a clear before and after. But real transformation is quieter. It moves like groundwater, deep beneath the surface, reshaping the landscape long before anything visible changes above ground. And then one day you wake up and you are simply different. You respond where you used to react. You trust where you used to fear. You feel at home in a life you once felt like a stranger in. This is what is beginning in you now. Not a performance of transformation, but the real thing. The slow, certain, irreversible kind. The kind that doesn't need an audience. The kind that happens in your body, in your cells, in the quiet rewiring of everything you thought was permanent. You are not the same person you were when you started this video. Something has already shifted. There is something called cellular memory, the idea that your body holds the emotional residue of every experience you've ever had. Every moment of rejection. Every time you were told you weren't enough. Every experience of abandonment or betrayal or loss. These are not just memories in your mind. They are patterns encoded in your nervous system, shaping your responses, your relationships, your capacity to receive. But here is the liberating truth. The body that learned fear can also learn safety. The nervous system that learned contraction can learn expansion. The cells that hold the memory of who you were can be updated with the reality of who you are becoming. This is not abstract. This is neuroscience. This is the biology of transformation. And it begins the moment you decide, genuinely, from the inside, that the old story is no longer true. There is a version of this moment in which you close this video and go back to everything familiar. And I need you to understand, that is a valid choice. The familiar is comfortable. The known feels safe. The mind is designed to return to what it knows, because the known, no matter how painful, carries the illusion of certainty. But you didn't come here for the familiar. You came here because something in you is done with settling, done with shrinking, done with the quiet desperation of a life that was built around survival instead of meaning. You came here because part of you already knows, this is the moment. Not tomorrow. Not when conditions are better. Not when you feel more ready. This breath. This decision. This willingness to let something new in. That is the only door that has ever mattered. Let's talk about what you truly deserve, because this may be where the deepest wound lives. Somewhere along the way, most people learn, not explicitly, but through experience, that they are only worthy of good things when they earn them. When they suffer enough. When they sacrifice enough. When they prove enough. And so they spend their lives in a perpetual state of proving, exhausted by a race with no finish line, never quite allowing themselves to simply receive. But worthiness is not a reward. It is not something you earn through pain or persistence or perfection. It is your original state. It is what you were before the world told you otherwise. The breakthrough you are moving toward is not a payment for your suffering. It is a return to what was always yours. You are already worthy. Full stop. Not eventually. There is a concept in quantum physics called the observer effect, the idea that the simple act of observation changes what is being observed. Think about what that means for your life. The moment you begin to consciously observe your thoughts, your patterns, your reactions, the moment you bring aware attention to the story you've been living, you change it. You are not just a passive recorder of your experience. You are an active participant in its creation. And awareness is the most powerful instrument of change that exists. Most people live their entire lives on autopilot, responding from the same old programs, moving through the same old grooves, wondering why nothing changes. But you are not most people. You are here, awake, watching. And the act of watching, of truly seeing, is already rewriting the code. What if the thing you've been waiting for has actually been waiting for you? Not in the sense of passive delay, but in the sense that the universe has been holding something in reserve, building something behind the scenes, orchestrating something so precisely aligned with your deepest needs that it couldn't arrive until you were ready to receive it fully. There is a timing to things that is not in your control. And learning to trust that timing, not with resignation, but with genuine faith, is one of the most advanced spiritual practices there is. It is easy to trust when things are going well. The real test is trusting when you cannot see, when the path disappears, when the silence feels like absence. That is not the universe withdrawing. That is the universe building. In the darkness of the seed, the tree is becoming. Your mind is the most sophisticated technology in existence, not because of what it can calculate or analyze, but because of what it can imagine, believe, and thereby create. Every thought you think is a seed. Every belief you hold is a filter through which reality is sorted and assigned meaning. And the stories you tell yourself about who you are, what you're capable of, what you deserve, are not descriptions of reality. They are instructions to reality. This is why the inner work is not optional. It is not a luxury for people with too much time. It is the foundation of everything. Because you can change your circumstances 1,000 times, but until you change the beliefs generating those circumstances, you will keep arriving at the same destination through different roads. Change the mind. Change the world. It really is that direct. Think about a moment when you surprised yourself. When you did something you didn't think you could do. When you found strength you didn't know you had. When you kept going past the point where logic said stop. Those moments were not accidents. They were glimpses, direct, undeniable glimpses, of your actual capacity. Of who you are beneath the fear, beneath the doubt, beneath the conditioning. That person who surprised you, that is not an exception to who you are. That is who you actually are. The fear and the doubt are the interruptions. The resilience, the depth, the extraordinary capacity to endure and grow and love and create, that is your baseline. That is your nature. And the entire journey of transformation is simply learning to live from that place, not just in crises, but as a way of being. There is a kind of grief that nobody talks about, the grief of the life you haven't lived yet. The grief of dreams deferred, of possibilities left unexplored, of the version of yourself you've been glimpsing for years, just slightly out of reach. This grief is real, and it deserves to be honored. Not dwelled in, not used as a weapon against yourself, but acknowledged. Because the ache of unexpressed potential is one of the deepest aches a human being can carry. And here is what that ache is really telling you. It is not evidence of failure. It is evidence of aliveness. Only people who care deeply enough, who dream vividly enough, who feel the gap between where they are and where they know they could be, only those people feel this kind of grief. It is the grief of someone who has not yet given up. And you haven't given up. You are here. Let's talk about resistance, because it will come, and you need to recognize it for what it is. The moment you decide to change, really change, from the inside, the old patterns will push back. Fear will dress itself up as logic. Doubt will arrive wearing the costume of realism. Old habits will feel more comfortable than ever before, precisely because they know their time is ending. This resistance is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. It is confirmation that you are on exactly the right one. Everything that resists growth is simply the old structure defending itself. And the old structure will always lose to the truth of what you're becoming, provided you don't mistake the resistance for reality. You don't have to fight it. You simply have to continue. Persistence in the face of resistance is not stubbornness. It is the most elegant form of faith. The people who have changed the world, in large ways or small, share one thing in common. Not talent, not resources, not perfect circumstances or obvious advantages. They share the willingness to believe in something they could not yet see, to hold a vision clearly enough and long enough that reality had no choice but to bend toward it. This is not mysticism. This is documented, repeated human history. Every revolution, every discovery, every life rebuilt from the ground up. The capacity to hold a vision in the face of its absence is the rarest and most powerful human skill. Most people abandon the vision the moment the evidence stops confirming it. But the breakthrough always lives just beyond that moment of almost giving up. And you are reading this because you have not given up. Now I want to ask you something, and I want you to sit with it honestly. What is the one belief, if you released it completely, that would change everything? Not a circumstance. Not a relationship. Not a financial situation. A belief. The story you keep returning to about why the life you want isn't available to you. The conviction that lives just below conscious awareness, quietly deciding what you will reach for and what you will leave untouched. You know what it is. It surfaced just now, even if only for a second. That flash of recognition, that is the thing. And the extraordinary news is this: beliefs are not facts. They are conclusions drawn from limited information. They can be examined. They can be questioned. And when a belief is seen clearly enough, its power over you begins to dissolve. Just asking the question is already the beginning of freedom. Your breath is a technology you've been underusing. This sounds simple. It is not. In every ancient tradition, across every culture that ever sought transcendence or transformation or deep healing, breath is the common thread. Because breath is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, between the voluntary and the involuntary, between the mind that chatters and the intelligence that knows. When you slow your breath, you slow your nervous system. When you deepen your breath, you signal to your body that you are safe. And safety, true, felt, cellular safety, is the condition under which transformation accelerates fastest. Fear contracts. Safety expands. Right now, breathe in deeply, hold for a moment, and release slowly. Feel the shift in your body. That shift is not small. That is your biology choosing openness. That is the field receiving a new signal. Let's talk about the people in your life, because your environment is not neutral. The conversations you participate in, the energy of the spaces you occupy, the beliefs of the people you spend the most time with, these are not just background noise. They are actively shaping your frequency. They are either supporting your evolution or making it harder. And part of the transformation you are stepping into requires honest discernment about what and who belongs in the next chapter of your life. This is not about judgment or rejection. It is about alignment. A plant cannot thrive in soil that does not support it, no matter how determined the plant is. You are allowed to seek environments that nourish your growth. You are allowed to outgrow rooms that no longer fit. That is not abandonment. That is becoming. There are moments in every transformation journey that feel like setback, but are actually recalibration. The relationship that ends. The career that collapses. The health crisis. The financial fall. These experiences, while genuinely painful, are often the universe's most forceful way of redirecting you away from what was keeping you small and toward what you are truly here to do. This is not a comfortable truth, but it is a freeing one. What if everything you've lost was not taken from you, but released from you? What if the universe has been actively, lovingly, relentlessly clearing the path? What would change in how you hold your story if you decided, right now, that everything that happened was for you, not to you? That reframe is not denial. It is one of the most powerful tools of transformation available to a human being. Deep in the center of you, there is something that does not change. Not with circumstances. Not with failure. Not with time. Something that has remained constant across every season of your life, every success, every heartbreak, every version of yourself you've cycled through. That something is not your personality, not your beliefs, not your identity as you've constructed it. It is the aware presence beneath all of that. The consciousness that watches. The being that simply is. In spiritual traditions, this is called the self, the soul, pure awareness. In neuroscience, it is the default state before all conditioning. In your own experience, it is the quiet that remains when the noise subsides. This is where your power lives. Not in the strategies or the plans or the affirmations, but in this silent, unchanging, unbreakable core. Return here as often as you can. There is a reason certain dreams keep returning to you. The vision of a different life. The place you've imagined living. The work that would feel like purpose rather than performance. The relationship that feels like home. The version of your mornings that doesn't begin with dread. These recurring visions are not fantasies you should be embarrassed by. They are communications from your deepest intelligence about what you are actually here to experience. Your soul does not communicate through logic. It communicates through longing. Through persistent, recurring images of a life that feels more true than the one you're currently living. Pay attention to those images. They are not accidents. They are not naive. They are the GPS coordinates of your highest path, and they return because you have not yet arrived, and because a part of you refuses to stop navigating. Let's talk about gratitude, but not as a practice. As a portal. Most people understand gratitude as a nice thing to feel when things go well. But that is only the surface. Real gratitude, the kind that transforms your frequency instantaneously, is the ability to feel genuinely thankful for what is here right now before the breakthrough, before the healing, before the evidence. This is the quantum level of gratitude, being thankful for what hasn't arrived yet as though it already has. This is not denial of difficulty. It is a refusal to let difficulty be the loudest signal you send to the field. When you move through a hard day with even a thread of genuine thankfulness, for breath, for consciousness, for the simple miracle of being alive in a universe this vast, you shift the entire energetic conversation between yourself and reality. Your story is not finished. In fact, you are at one of the most significant pages in the entire narrative, the page that comes just before everything turns. In the great stories that endure across centuries, There is always a moment like this one. The hero has been through the trials. They have been brought to the edge. They are exhausted and uncertain, and everything inside them is asking, is this worth continuing? And then something happens. Not always dramatic. Sometimes it is a quiet decision. Sometimes it is simply choosing not to quit on the day quitting would have been easiest. And from that decision, everything changes. That is the page you are on right now. The story does not end here. It pivots here. Everything that came before has been the preparation. Everything that comes next is the purpose. You are a vibrational being living in a vibrational universe. This is not poetry. This is the conclusion of quantum physics, string theory, and virtually every major scientific and spiritual tradition that has attempted to describe the nature of reality. At the most fundamental level, beneath matter, beneath particles, beneath everything your senses can detect, there is only vibration, only frequency, only information moving through the field. And you, your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, the stories you tell yourself in the dark, you are broadcasting a frequency every single moment that the universe is constantly receiving and responding to. This is why inner change produces outer change. Not because of some magical intervention, but because you have literally changed what you are transmitting. The external world is always the echo of the internal one. The breakthrough is not an event that will happen to you. It is a state of being that you step into. And you can begin stepping into it now, before the evidence arrives, before the circumstances change, before anyone else confirms it. This is the secret that most people never discover. The feeling of the breakthrough, the relief, the expansion, the deep exhale of finally, does not have to wait for the external confirmation. You can choose to feel it now. Not as a lie you're telling yourself, but as a genuine act of alignment with a future that is real. When you practice being the person who has already broken through, in how you think, how you speak, how you treat yourself, you close the vibrational gap faster than any strategy or effort ever could. The universe meets you at the frequency you hold, not the circumstances you're in. Something in you recognized this message before you understood the words. That is not an accident. That is resonance. That is the vibrational matching of a signal you've been sending, perhaps quietly, perhaps unconsciously, with a signal that was ready to be received. You were guided here. Not by coincidence. Not by the algorithm alone. By the part of you that is already aligned, already knowing, already certain of what is coming. Trust that part. Even when the logical mind argues. Even when the circumstances seem to contradict. Even when the people around you can't see what you see. The inner knowing is more reliable than any external evidence, because the external evidence is always lagging behind the vibrational truth. What you feel in your core today is the blueprint for what will appear in your world tomorrow. Let's speak directly about fear, because it is the only real obstacle there is. Not circumstance. Not timing. Not resources. Fear. Specifically, the fear that you will reach for the thing you truly want and fall short. The fear that the version of yourself you've been imagining is not actually available to you. The fear that hope, extended fully, will only result in a more devastating disappointment. This fear is understandable. It is built on real experience. It is the mind's attempt to protect you from pain. But here is what it costs you: everything. Every unlived dream. Every unexpressed gift. Every relationship not pursued, every leap not taken, every morning you woke up smaller than you could have been. Fear was the architect of all of it. And you are done building from that blueprint. You can feel the fear and expand anyway. That is what courage actually is. There is a version of your future that is extraordinarily good. Not perfect. Not without challenge or complexity or the normal textures of a human life. But genuinely, deeply, soul-satisfyingly good. A version in which you feel purposeful when you wake up. In which your gifts are being expressed and received. In which your relationships carry depth and safety and joy. In which you are proud, not in an arrogant way, but in the quiet way of a person who showed up for themselves. That version is not reserved for someone else. It is not a fantasy that belongs only to the lucky or the privileged or the ones who started with more. It is yours. It has always been yours. The only thing that has ever stood between you and it is the collection of beliefs telling you it isn't. And those beliefs are dissolving right now, word by word, breath by breath. There is ancient wisdom in the Hermetic tradition that says, as above, so below. As within, so without. What is happening in your interior landscape is always reflected in your exterior world. Not sometimes. Always. With a precision that, once you begin to see it, becomes undeniable. The chaos on the outside is a map of the chaos on the inside. The peace on the outside is a reflection of the peace within. The abundance or the scarcity, the connection or the isolation, all of it is a projection of the field you are generating from the inside. This is not about blame. It is about power. If your outer world was being generated by something outside you, you would be powerless. But if it is being generated by your inner world, then you have the only kind of agency that matters. You have the power to change the source. The moment of awakening is rarely when everything makes sense. More often, it is when you stop needing it to. When the grip of needing to understand, needing to control, needing to know exactly how and when that grip relaxes, even slightly, the field floods in. Surrender is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is the act of trusting the intelligence that built galaxies to also be capable of navigating your life. You have been holding on so tightly. To the plan. To the timeline. To the specific form you decided your breakthrough should take. What if you released the form and held only the feeling? What if you let the universe determine the path, while you focused only on the destination, not as a place, but as a state of being? This is the spiritual art form of the highest order, directed trust. You are not alone in this. I know it has felt that way. I know there have been stretches of time, perhaps very long ones, when the sense of isolation was overwhelming. When you looked around and genuinely could not find anyone who understood the depth of what you were carrying, or the height of what you were reaching for. That kind of loneliness is one of the heaviest things a human being can carry. But you are part of something much larger than you can see from where you're standing. There is a collective of souls, across this planet and across dimensions of awareness, who are engaged in the same essential work that you are. Who are healing the same wounds, questioning the same programs, reaching for the same depth of truth. You are not isolated. You are pioneering. And pioneers always feel alone, until the others catch up. There is a point in every transformation where the old self and the new self occupy the same body. And it is deeply disorienting. You no longer fully belong to who you were, but you have not yet fully arrived at who you're becoming. You stand in the threshold, which feels like nowhere at all. This threshold time is one of the most uncomfortable, most sacred phases of transformation. The old identity is dissolving, and that dissolution, even when chosen, even when desired, even when necessary, feels like a kind of grief. Do not rush through it. Do not try to force yourself back into the old shape or forward into a new one before you're ready. Simply be in the threshold. Hold yourself with tenderness. You are not lost. You are between. And between is where the most profound becoming happens. The caterpillar does not try to rush through its dissolution. It surrenders to the process, knowing, on some cellular, fundamental level, that wings are coming. You have arrived at the edge of the old version of your life. You can feel it. The way things that used to satisfy no longer do. The way conversations that once felt comfortable now feel hollow. The way the familiar path feels increasingly like the wrong one, even when you can't see what the right one looks like yet. These feelings are not depression or ingratitude or instability. They are initiations. They are the final evidence that you have genuinely outgrown the life you've been living. Outgrowing is not the same as losing. The butterfly does not mourn the cocoon. And you are not being asked to mourn the life that brought you here. You are being invited to honor it, for every lesson it carried, every strength it built, every moment of beauty it contained, and then step forward, with gratitude in your hands and your future in your heart. We are coming to the end of this transmission, but we are at the beginning of your breakthrough. And I want you to carry something with you when you leave this space. Not just a feeling that fades by morning. Not just inspiration that dissolves in the noise of ordinary life. But a knowing. A settled, quiet, unshakable knowing that lives in your bones. You were not sent here randomly. You are not here by accident. The fact that you found this, that you stayed, that you felt, that something in you opened, that is not nothing. That is everything. That is the universe confirming what it has always known about you, that you are ready. that you have always been ready, that the breakthrough you've been seeking has not been waiting for you to become worthy of it. It has been waiting for you to remember that you already are. So here is what I need you to do right now. Not tomorrow. Not after you've thought about it more, or felt more certain, or gathered more evidence that it's safe. Decide. Decide that this is the moment your life changes. Decide that the old story, the one built on limitation and fear and inherited unworthiness, ends here. Decide that the version of you who knows their purpose, who walks in alignment, who trusts the process and receives the gifts, decide that person is not a future aspiration. Decide they are who you are, right now, in this moment. Because transformation is not a slow process that happens to you over years. It is a decision that happens in a single instant, that you then choose again and again and again until it becomes the only thing you know. Make the decision. The universe is already applauding. The breakthrough has already begun. And now you know it too.